So the first topic I'm going to talk about is the box office. So the first thing is that Wolfman underperformed at the box office. It made in the 10 million area, tracking open between 17-21. Its budget is 25, so you have to keep that in mind, plus marketing. So it doesn't have a high budget for this movie. And most likely, do I think it will make back its budget a little bit more? Yeah. But I also think this movie's not going to have legs at the box office because the word of mouth for this movie has been great. Like, if I'm going to be having my review of Student for the movie where I thought it was okay. And I think a lot of people felt that way based on word of mouth. Like, it has like a 50 something percent on Rotten Tomatoes with critics and audience. So neither side can say they were loving it. And most reviews I've seen thought it was okay. Like, how I felt it was just an okay, forgettable movie. And I don't think the trailers really got people excited. Like I felt like before the movie was coming out, I didn't really get a sense of a whole lot of buzz around this movie. So I mean, I do think we'll make back its buzz it because of how small the buzz is. But I don't think this movie's gonna make that much more than its buzz it personally. I honestly think this is a with the word of mouth and just the excitement not really being it and it really underperforming. Like it's made 16 so far, and it's only I think it made like I said in the 10 million to 12 million area, somewhere around there. So it really underperformed really bad, which is why tracking can sometimes be way off on point or lower than what movies are tracking box office wise. But yeah, Wolfman underperformed. I'm not completely shocked by this because I just think the word of mouth and it wasn't. I feel like personally the trailers didn't get people excited for the movie. Like I know I had interest in the movie, but I also wasn't overly excited for the movie either. When it comes to everything else, Mufasa was number one at the box office, and that comedy movie, One of a Kind, I believe it's called, was number two at the box office, with Wolfman being number three. And it's One of Them Days, excuse me, One of Them Days, that comedy movie, which I heard good things about. So, but yeah, that was number two at the box office. Now, some other things that wanted to made a villain was, I figured it was going to. Last time I saw it was like 960 was, you know, Disney made a smart move on not putting it on, because originally it was going to be a Disney Plus TV show or a movie. It they made the right choice. I mean, they made over a billion with this movie. And I definitely think you're going to get a more on a three. And then Nosferatu, I believe, was made. That movie was doing well. I think that movie's made like over 100 on a 50 million budget, which shows that people were hyped up for that movie. 156 on a 50 million budget, and that people will go see these classic monsters redone in a modern interpretation. I mean, Invisible Man did great too. So I just don't think a lot of people will say for Wolfman. But Monster made over, it's made 156. Sonic 3 is made 422, so that's become the highest grossing Sonic movie, which is great to see because I love Sonic 3. Can't wait for Sonic 4. And Mufasa, I think, is made in a 592 area. So I'm actually surprised that movie is number one because that movie I thought it was okay, but it's still making a little bit of money. This is why I think Snow White is probably going to make some money when that movie comes out. Because even people hate these Disney remakes, they do make a little bit of money at the box office. But yeah, when it comes to Wolfman, I can't say I'm completely shocked by that with it underperforming. Like I said, like it definitely opened lower than I thought it would. But at the same time, I just don't think there was a whole lot of hype surrounding the movie, and I think word of mouth is going to kill this movie. Like I just don't see, like I said, a lot of people going back to see Wolfman a second and third time based on the word of mouth. The next thing I want to talk about is Cameron Diaz was talking about she would actually do the Mass sequel if they have a really interesting story. And I know Jim Carrey said something a little bit before this saying he'll be up to do a Mass sequel. I would love to see a Mass sequel with those two back. I mean, I love the Mass movie with Jim Carrey and Cameron Diaz. And it's good to see Cameron Diaz back to film. I know she kind of retired a little bit there, and she just came back recently after a break from doing movies, and that she moved back to Aston, which was a very weird choice for a first movie for her to come back to acting because the movie was just a very terrible movie. So I'm surprised I was I I'll put a review for that movie, but I'm definitely think it's weird that that's like the movie she chose to come back to doing acting again. But I would love to see a mass sequel with those two, and also I love to see a mass sequel because the Son of the Mask was the sequel they did. I remember years ago that had nothing to do with the first Mask movie. Like it was a new set of characters, was terrible, and like I said, The Original Mask is one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies, and I mean, who doesn't remember Cameron Diaz in that movie? So I would definitely be up to see a Mask sequel to it too. And I like Cameron Diaz; she's a good actress. So if they were to come up with a really cool story idea to do a Mask sequel with her and Jim Carrey coming back, I would definitely be down to see a sequel. The next thing is that Supergirl has been confirmed to be in the Superman movie, which I had a feeling she was gonna be in there since she is Superman's cousin, and it's the movie I believe being released after the Superman movie, so it makes total sense she would be in there. Like I'm gonna guess she's gonna be in there for like a small role, kind of how Lobo, from what I heard, is gonna be in the Supergirl movie as a small role, but it'd be a step for him to be like a bigger presence in future movies. I feel that's what Supergirl is gonna be like. She's gonna be in the movie for like a small role, then have a bigger presence in the DC movies coming forward. Now, this does get into the topic I kind of want to talk about with this news is that when it comes to adding another superhero to this movie, and because I know the one concern people have about the Superman movie, and this is the one little concern I have, is that maybe there's too many characters in this movie because you're adding Supergirl now, you have Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, you have Hawkgirl, you have another superhero that I can't remember the name of that's going to be in the movie. So you have a bunch of characters, and I know some people seem to have about this movie is this like too many characters now with Supergirl in there too. And my thing is always that look, it depends on how these characters are used. I also look at I've also seen movies where they have tons of characters and the movies still turn out to be great. Infinity War, Endgame, in Avengers Infinity War, Endgame have tons of characters in those movies, but they were great movies, and it didn't. And I feel like all the characters got the right amount of screen time in those movies, where none of them felt shortchanged. So it depends on how you use them. I also look at James Gunn's track record when you look at his Guardians of the Galaxy movies and the Holiday Special and his Suicide Squad movies, which were all ensemble movies. Now those were team movies, obviously. And look, I want the Superman movie to focus on Superman. Like I want it to feel like okay, you have all these other characters, but the focus is on Superman and his supporting cast. But I think James Gunn has shown that he does a great job with ensembles and handling a lot of characters. So for me, it comes down to just how the characters are used. Like, do I think a Superman movie has a lot of characters? Yes. Is that a little bit? Is that the one concern I have? Yes. But James Gunn has shown he can handle ensemble movies, and there's plenty of movies I watch where I go like, oh, they have tons of characters, but it all comes down to how they use. I mean, a movie like Oppenheimer has a lot of characters. Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer movie in that movie, but I never felt like it was like they had, like it hooked the movie where you had a bunch of characters. So it all comes down to how they're used. Like I said, there's plenty of examples with movies that have tons of characters. It just comes down to how they're used in the movie. So personally, yeah, I'm a little concerned, but at the same time, I trust James Gunn and I trust that he's gonna do a great job of making the focus solely on Superman, his supporting cast, and not making it feel like it's gonna take away from Superman. Like I trust James Gunn. I do, and I think it does make sense how Supergirl in it. This also to me makes sense why Supergirl is the second movie because if Superman is going to be the main focal point of your DC universe, then it makes sense to me that the next movie would be a movie where it spans his like supporting cast when it comes to his cousin. So to me it makes sense why Supergirl would be the second movie. Like I know some people thought that was a real choice, but I'm also kind of like, well, your first movie is Superman. If he's going to be the main focal point of your universe, then it makes sense the second movie will span a character that's connected to Superman. So like I said, I'm a little concerned about Supergirl with so many characters in the Superman movie, but at the same time, I trust James Gunn when it comes to him being able to handle ensemble movies and still keeping the focus on Superman. And look, like I said, you know, we'll see. It all comes down to how the characters are handled in the movie. The next topic I want to talk about is Scream 7 has done some casting stuff. So, with Scream 7, we have it announced that the actor who played, I believe, Starman, yeah, Starman in the Stargirl show, I'm forgetting the name of the actor, but he's been cast as Sidney's husband in the movie. Now, the real thing about this casting, which is why I think a lot of fans are confused, and why even I'm confused a little bit, is that his character's name is going to be Mark, which was the name of the detective character in Scream 3 that was kind of set up as, like, you could see maybe a little bit of a love interest for Sidney there. And then I know there was rumors going around they were going to maybe bring that actor back. I think the character's name was Mark KK. I don't remember the name of the actor. But I do think it's weird that Sidney's husband is the same name as that character from Scream 3 that was like rumored to they were like there was rumors around they were going to bring the actor back, but they never did. And they referenced in Scream 5 her husband when she talks about she references Mark, I believe, in a scene in that movie. I just think it's weird they chose that name for the character when it was the name of a character, a popular character that people were hoping to see back from Scream 3. So I do think that's an odd choice with the name, and I would have preferred if you just brought back the guy from Scream 3. Like, I know in Scream 4, it looks like they didn't get together because you don't see him in that movie with reference. But I do think that's a little weird. I do like the news that we are going to see two of the core four members back. Like, we are going to see the girl that was kind of like the Rainey of the group in Scream 5 and Scream 6, where she was really into movies and the tropes of horror movies. Because I love the character, and her brother, who was in Scream 5 and 6. Like, I love the fact we're going to see at least two of the four core members back from Scream 5 and 6. So I'm glad we're going to see some of those characters from those movies back. But the actor's going to be playing Sidney's husband named Mark. I do think it's weird that they specifically chose a name to name that character Mark, which is the first name of a character from Scream 3 that people were hoping to see back. I do think that's a weird choice story wise, and I would just gave him a different name. So I'm definitely curious about that. Why he's the same name as the character from Scream 3. But I like the actor. Like, he's a good actor. Like, I thought he was in the Stargirl show as Starman, and he's been in other couple of things. I can't remember the name of the actor off the top of my head, but I think he's a great choice. I think he's a great actor. So, and I like the idea that the idea that it's going to focus on like Sydney's family, and I'm definitely excited for Scream 7. At first, I was a little like, oh man, I was a little concerned about this movie because as much as I love the Sydney character, at the same time, she's been like the victim for like the first four movies, and the idea of the kid going up to a family, I think, could be interesting. But I'm also, was kind of like, I don't know if I want to see Sydney as a victim again. So how many times can she be attacked? But I like the casting. I like the fact we're seeing two of the four members that are officially confirmed to be back. So, I'm actually excited for Scream 7. So that's my thoughts on all the movie topics today. Until next time, movie fans.